Hello everyone. Let's look at a slightly more difficult example of using a closure within a function. So we're going to do, let's just do function main to stop it complaining. Right, so the first function would be called take2, and it takes two input parameters, and it also takes a closure. I'm doing this from memory. I'm not looking at any notes or using ChatGPT or anything. I think that's slightly disingenuous. So my earlier example, I was just putting in I32s. I was passing in 5 and 3, and I was returning a I32 of number 15 or whatever. But what I'm going to do here is use generics throughout. So we've got A and B, which are the input values. F, which is going to be the closure. So A is of type A. B will be of type B. So it's just generics. It's the same as if it was a T, but obviously we're naming them. And then f, so the function will be of type f. And we're going to return a string. And we need to do the where clause. So, not clause, I'm talking, where is from SQL, isn't it? Where f, so the generic type f is fn. And it takes in type A. So we put in the types here, so A and B, and then we say what that returns, and that will be the same as what we've got on the first line. And as I understand it, that string is always, if you've got a string here, sorry, if you've got a string here, this always needs to be a string because effectively all of this line is basically that, 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 that. So it's all the types here really. And then in here, you actually say, you're just returning. So f is the function, and it takes the a and b parameters. I'm trying to think of a way how this can be made more understandable, but I'm not sure if there is a way. I guess if anybody knows the way, then let me know. So we have to create a closure, and then we pass the closure into the function. So let closure, and you could make as many closures as you want. So closure 1 would be x. So I could just pass in a and b, but I'll just do x and y. X, which is of type, let's do I32, and then b, I could make that a string or string slice. And then because we use format, or because we need to return a string, I'll use format, and we'll just turn a string like that, and the inputs to that string will be B there, sorry. The inputs to that string can be X, Y. And you see that doesn't complain. So we're passing in an I32 and a string slice, and we're returning a string. So the closure's good. And now let result equal, then we use the function, and Rust Analyzer tells us what it's looking for. So A, which is first thing, which will be I32. B, which can be a number. Sorry, not a number, a string slice. And then F will be the closure. So the closure will take 42 and 50, and then it'll format them and it'll print them as a string. So closure 1, And then let's just print it, just check what we're getting is what we expect. Yeah, 42 and 50. So the key things to remember here really are this second line is the one that always gets me. The first one is kind of fairly standard, but it's the second one and just remembering what to put after the where. So this line is all about the types. And this line is actually using the inputs or the parameters. So A goes to A, B goes to B, and then F is the function, and that's the function which is down here. So that F is the take 2. The A actually ends up being 42, and the B ends up being the 50. And then the result is a string. If I turn back on types, see result is a string. We're passing in an I32 in a string, turn in a string from the closure. So yeah, I'm just going to, again, this channel is called Learning Rust, and it's not just about Rust, it's about learning Rust. So I always like to kind of discuss how I attempt to learn things or memorize things, and with this really it's repetition. So I'll be typing this maybe every day for a week or two when I have my cup of coffee. Um, and again, I think probably it's worth learning this for sort of being able to type this out from scratch without looking at any notes. Obviously, you could change this back if you wanted. So rather than doing all the generics here, you could just do F. Then the A could be I32. This was my earlier example, which was arguably a lot easier, but the name of the game's not making things easier. The name of the game is learning, isn't it? So I32 there, and yeah, it's not A and B anymore, is it? It's an expected argument of type 32. What's wrong there then? F, A, B. It's just unexpected argument. Remove the extra arguments. Okay. Ah, no, I still need to put A and B in there, don't I? Cannot find. Oh, I shouldn't have used. You see what happens when you go from doing an easy example to A is I32. Oh, just put I32 and I32 in there, don't you? It's all about the types. Sorry. Right. And here, B is no longer going to be 50. Actually, I need to change the closure. So that then becomes I32. And then instead of 50 there, we'll just pass in 43. And closure, which I've actually spelt wrong. Why is that wrong? Turn. Yeah, I'm returning a string there, aren't I? So instead, we'll just do x times y there, and that will work. 1806. Big number. 42 times 43 is 1806, right? So yeah, I actually made harder work of doing the easier example. But it just shows once In machine learning, it's called overfitting, isn't it? It's when you get so good at one example, the danger is you think you know it. So the best thing to do is really go and change something or change a big chunk of it, and then test your understanding because you might think you know stuff. Well, I think I know stuff, and then when I go and check, I find out I don't already know half of it, or I've only remembered half of it. So yeah. So thanks for watching. That's using a closure spelled incorrectly. That's just a variable name. But yeah, that's using a closure with a function, or closure inside a function. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back very soon.